Shalom, give peace, honor to Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops, a great millstone that rule well, that teach well while learning truth 100% according to the Bible. I also want to say shalom to the elect, the 144,000 men, prophets, servants scattered abroad the four corners of the earth. And shalom to you, Akwath, which are you sisters that are sincere your children. Shalom. And in today's video is going to be building off of this video from the brother the whole for like 3, and I'm going to basically get it to the video, listen to it, and I'm accepts as willing to but this is copy.
What the hell's going on, man? The world's getting crazy. I don't know if I can take it anymore. Every day it's something new. We got floodings in Texas, the Carolinas. Where I live in New York State right now, we got flood warnings tonight. We got like record high amounts of rain the last couple of days, and it seems like America.
Right. And we heard just a little gist of what it is that the guy is saying, and I'm going to let the rest of the video play, but I'm going to get a few precepts real quick. But we hear what it is he's talking about, basically talking about how bad things are getting. And the reason these things are ultimately occurring is because we're living in a time of judgment. Yahweh Yahweh Shai is getting ready to bring forth unimaginable amount of evils upon this place, America, man. And that's what a lot of these people don't realize. This is not what their Christian church is going to tell these people, man. This is not what their president and all of these other people that's in the know a little bit of what's happening. They're not going to tell these people that we're living in a time of evil. We're living in a time of war. We're living in a time of when chaos is about to ensue and begin to happen. No, they're going to keep these people dumb as possible, man. And a lot of these people, the Lord has them blinded. They don't see what's going on. Though they see what's going on, they still don't know what time of season that we're in. Because ultimately, we know that all of these things that are happening, they're being orchestrated by Yahweh Yahweh Shai, man. The Lord is bringing forth all of these things, and I'm actually go to a precept just to prove that through the Spirit. This is Isaiah chapter 45. I'm going to start at verse 7. It says, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil, right? Meaning bad times. I, the Lord, do all these things. So all of the events that we constantly see occurring in the earth, the wars that are happening, the situations that are happening with these storms and all of these floods and everything that's happening here in America, this is all a stem from the Lord bringing forth judgment, man. And I'm going to go to a new precept just touching on that, man. Right? This is Amos chapter 3, verse 6, and I'm going to start in the KJV, right? It says, shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid? And that trumpet represents the men of the Lord, starting with the apostles and the elder bishops, a great millstone, and the men that are teaching the same doctrine, warning you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, ultimately that we're living in a time of judgment and that these evils in which it is these people see occurring are only going to get worse. It tells you in Matthew 24:8, all these are the beginning of sorrows, man. So we're only in the beginning stages of the greater judgment and the greater, bad times that these people are about to see and witness, man. Right. And that's what we're warning people about. And ultimately, people are not afraid because people still living their lives wickedly. People are still committing sin. So-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, men and women are not repenting. They're not turning back to the Lord. So a lot of these people, they're not afraid of what we're telling them. They don't believe these things are going to happen, but it's going to happen. Right. It says, shall there be evil in the city, right? And the Lord have not done it. So like I said before, the Lord is the one that's bringing all of the judgment, all of the things in which it is these people see happening in the earth that they can't know what it is that's happening and they can't fathom it with their human mind. That's because the Lord is working these things, man. He's bringing forth these bad times, and we know it's only going to get worse. And I'm actually get this precept that I got. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 14. I'm going to start at verse 16. It says, for yet greater evils, right, than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter, right? So basically, each day that goes by is going to be worse than the last. That's the time of season that we're in. It tells you in 2 Timothy 3:1 that in the last days, perilous times shall come, right? You go into that word perilous, it means hazardous, right? Or cautious or fearful or, just uncertain times, man. And that's the time of season that we're in. And that's why you see all of these different things going on at once, man. Right. This is verse 17. It said, for look how much the world shall be weakened through age, so much the more shall evils, right? Meaning bad times again, increase upon them that dwell therein, man. So like I said before, it all goes back to the Lord pouring out his judgment upon this country, man, and his world. That's why you see all of these things happening. That's why you see all of these storms getting more intense. That's why you see the love of many waxing cold. That's why you see people bugging out. That's why you see all of these wars and rumors of wars and all of these other different types of events taking place, because we're living in a time of judgment, man, and it's only going to get worse, right? So I'm going to go to this precept right here that I got. This is St. Matthew chapter 24. And I'm going to start at verse 21, because this is the time of season that we're coming into. This is what's manifesting. It says, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be," right? So we living in a time like none other, man. Anything in which it is, you can basically think about that happened throughout history. The time of Noah during the flood, 70 AD, the transatlantic slave trade, World War I, World War II. All of those things combined are not about to equal up to the evils that Yahweh Shem Yahushua is about to unleash upon this earth, man. Especially in this place, Babylon, the Great America, because this place is going to get it the worst, right? But this is verse 22. It said, "And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days should be shortened." You see, this is how bad it's about to get out here very soon, man. These are the things that we're warning you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians ultimately about. And to get right with the Lord and to repent, man. Because, these times are fastly approaching. And that's just how bad it's going to be out here, that no flesh will be saved, man, if the Lord didn't ultimately speed up the time for his elect. Lord's will, we be at that number. But that's just how bad it's about to get out here, man. And a lot of these people, they have no idea that it's even happening. Because like I said, a lot of these people caught up in the spirit of mirth, having fun, celebrating pagan traditions, going to parties, it's the summertime. A lot of people in a spirit of folly, having fun. These people don't even see what's happening right around them, man. How things are shifting for the worse, But hey, I'm actually getting that precept, right? This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, and I'm going to start at verse 3. It says, "For when they shall say peace and safety," right? "Then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." And that's what's ultimately going to happen upon these Babylonians, man. When the Lord really does crank up these judgments worse than what they already are, what people see now, what they think is bad, is only going to get worse. But when the Lord actually amplifies it, it's going to come upon these people unawares. Because like I said before, these people are not paying attention, especially 2/3 of our people. They're not watching. They're not paying attention to the prophecies. They're not looking at what's happening over there in the Middle East. World War III kicking off, the MOTBC about to be made mandatory soon. Everything is pushing towards a digital society. These people don't see none of that, man, at all, because they're asleep, and the Lord have ultimately put them in that sleep state because they're not part of his remnant. They're not of that 1/3, man. Right? This is verse 4. It said, "But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief." See? Because we're in the spirit, man. The Lord have given us the understanding. He's given us his Holy Spirit, So we're not in the darkness of all of the things that are happening around us. We know that we're living in very prophetic times. We know that we're living in times where great judgment is about to come upon this earth, man. We know that. So we're not in the darkness like the rest of these people in the world that don't know what the hell is going on, man. Right? They know that something bad is happening, but they can't align it up with the scriptures because the Lord has blinded these people. They have no idea what's happening in front of them, man. Right? That's why people so nervous. That's why people so on edge. That's why people don't know what to do. That's why you got so many people crashing out left and right, man. Because these people don't have answers for what they see happening around them. They see this economy here in America collapsing, everything getting worse over here, but they still feel like something good is going to happen. Because these people don't know what time of season we're in, man. And this is verse 5. It says, "Ye are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness." See, that's why we're going to be watching and paying attention. We're going to be being circumspect. The Lord said in 1 Peter 4:7 to be watching as well as praying, man. Being sober minded. So we're going to be in that spirit of always watching, not being of those that are in the dark, that are ultimately not knowing the times and seasons that we're in. That's why, as I read earlier, it's going to come upon these people suddenly, that destruction, because they've not been paying attention and watching. They don't know what times and seasons that we're in, man. Right? And this is the majority of these people here in America, man. Especially you 2/3 of the nation of Israel. But you heathens, you people, all of you people are in the blind, man. Because you people don't have the Lord with you. So you don't have the insight of what's happening around you and what's really going on, So I'm going to read this. This is verse 6. It says, "Therefore, let us not sleep as do others," right? "But let us watch and be sober," right? And that's what we got to continue to be in the spirit of doing. watching. Because, hey, we know sooner or later something is going to pop off, even though a lot of these people, they don't believe it or whatever the case may be. But, hey, something is going to pop off very soon, and the average Joe can feel it, because it's going to happen, right? And I'm going to go to a precept, actually, because this is the time and season that we're in, right? This is Ecclesiastes chapter 3, and I'm going to start at verse 1. But the point is at verse 8. It said, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven, right? So everything in which it is that happens in the earth, it all is a season to it, right? So we know that, like I said earlier, we're living in a time of judgment, in a time of evils, man, right? So that's what you're going to constantly see occurring and manifesting and popping up, because that's the season that the Lord has this earth in, man, because we're living in that time of when the Lord is about to visit this place, man. And when you go into that word visit, it means to, basically to judge, man. Judge this man's wicked system. This is verse 2. It said a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. Verse 3, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up. Verse 4, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. Verse 6, it says a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away. Verse 7, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, right? This is the point, verse 8. A time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. See, and that's the time of season that we're in, and that's what a lot of these people don't understand. We're living in a time of war, man. We're living in a time where there's not going to be any peace coming for this world, man, especially for this place, America, right? Because like I said before, we're living in a time where Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is about to judge this place, man, right? And I'm actually go to another precept, right? Bear with me. This is one of my favorite scriptures. I love bringing this one out. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 15, right? And I'm going to start right at the point. Verse 5, it said, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, right? All of these storms, all of these wars that are happening, all of these other different events that are taking place, all of these job layoffs, the way that this economy in America is going downhill, all of these are plagues, man. And Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is the one that's bringing it, right? It says, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world. The sword, right, which represents chaos, destruction, people being at odds, civil unrest. All of these things are going to happen, man, in these times that we're living in, right? And it says famine, right, food shortages, things like that. Death and destruction, right? So it tells you in verse 6 why the Lord is ultimately going to bring all of these things, right? And it says, for wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, man. And their hurtful works are fulfilled, man, right? And I'm going to actually go to another precept, right, real quick, and I'm going to come back. One of my favorite ones I like bringing out as well through the Spirit, because this is what was happening during the time of Noah, man, before that first death came, which was that flood, and overtook the wicked people during that time, which we know those are the same people that are back now in the reincarnation. Right. And we see the same thing happening now. The men of the Lord out here warning you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians at the time of season that we're in, and to get right with the Lord. But everybody's ignoring the men of the Lord because people want to, engage in being wicked. And that's what they delight in doing. So, hey, the Lord is about to punish you people, man. Right. This is Genesis 6:5. It said, and Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man and woman was great in the earth, right? Just like it is now. It's very great. You get celebrated for being wicked in this society, especially here in America, man. For being a mole, for being a lesbo and all of these other different words and things that these people do. You get celebrated for being that, man. So, hey, the wickedness is very great in the earth, man. Right. And that every imagination of the thoughts of his or her heart, meaning their mind, was only evil continually, man. You see? And this is all these people in this place is thinking about, how to be wicked and how to get away with being wicked, So Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is about to bring the judgment for all of that wickedness, man. The Lord is not playing at all. And a lot of these people are about to get that rude awakening very soon, that the Lord is not playing, man, at all. And his men been warning you people, man. Right. So I'm going to get back to 2nd Esdras 15, and I'm going to read verse 6 again. It said, for wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore saith the Lord. Verse 8, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness. Right. So the Lord said he's done, man. That's why you see all of these evils happening. That's why you see things getting worse in the earth, man. Because the Lord is at the point where he's done with all of the wickedness, all of the perverseness, all of the sickness, all of the demonic behavior of these damn people, man. The Lord is about to, he's about to tear stuff up, man. And it says, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves, right? Because as I said earlier, these people get rewarded for being wicked, man. That's why people love to, do things that is contrary to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Bible. Mainly the 2/3 of our people, That's why they love walking after the ways of darkness, man, because there's a reward in this society when you're wicked, man. The only way you can truly make it in this society, you got to be evil, man, And it says, behold, the innocent and the righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually, man. And that's going into the Lord's elect, man. Yahweh Ratazah, we be at that number. But those are the men that are sighing and crying for the abominations that be done in the midst thereof, as it tells you in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 9, verse 4. And those are going to be the men, that the Lord is going to have mercy upon when he does bring forth the judgment. But you 2/3, you other heathens, and all of you other people, man, of the world, man, you people are going to get caught up in a whirlwind of trouble, man. No better way to put it. That's what the Lord is going to bring upon you people, man. And at the end of the day, like I said, the men of the Lord warned you so-called tribes, man. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians. We warned you of these times and that they're coming. We warning you that it's about to get more evil out here, We warning you that America is not going to be great again like you people believe that this devil told you people, man. It's only going to get worse and worse, man, right? But like I said, people are going to see in very due time, man, very soon. Like I said, all of the things in which it is the men of the Lord have been telling you people about. You people are about to see it, man, because the Lord is at the point now where he's not about to hide it anymore. He's about to fully unleash these things, man, that you people have been believing is not going to happen. And all of this scoffing and mocking that you people been doing, man, against this truth. You people are about to see, man, very soon. And I'm going to go to a precept just touching on that, right? This is Habakkuk chapter 2. And I'm going to start at verse 3, but I'm going to read it in the NLT, right? And it says, this vision is for a future time. What is the vision? The prophecies telling you about the evils, telling you about World War III, telling you about this devil coming with a MOTBC hip, man. Ultimately to, track everybody, and you won't be able to function in this new society that he's coming with unless you have it. These are all of the prophecies that we've been warning you about. These are the visions, right? It said it's for a future time, which is coming very soon. It describes the end, right? Because we're at the end. And it will be fulfilled, which means it will come to pass, right? If it seems slow in coming, right? Because that's why a lot of people don't repent and turn back to the Lord. Here it is. The men of the Lord are blowing the trumpet, warning you tribes, man, to repent and to get right. And guess what they're doing? They're looking at us laughing. They're looking at us scoffing. They're coming up against the truth every day, with their opinions and all of this stuff, right? Because they don't believe this stuff is going to happen. Because like I said, we've been warning them for so long to the point where they just look at it like, oh, man, whatever. Y'all been saying that. Ain't no evil going to come. Ain't no bad stuff going to happen to America. This is what these people believe, man. Right. But they're sadly mistaken. Right. Because it says, if it seems slow in coming, wait patiently, right? For it will surely take place. It will not be delayed. So all of these things that we've been warning you people about, these bad times that are coming to this place, America, and the world, is going to happen, man. And people can feel it, man. Like I said, because we're in that time where, the Lord is not about to continue to hide his hand. He's about to start showing his hand through the judgments that he's about to bring forth, man. People going to know, right? So bear with me. I'm going to get back into this video. But, these things are about to manifest themselves, man. And this is why we ultimately want to be on the side of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, man. We want the Lord to have mercy upon us because we know that he's about to bring judgment, unstoppable amount of judgment upon these wicked people, man. And we don't want to be amongst them when the Lord brings it, at all. So I'm going to get back into this video. Bear with me. Bear with me. Salakia.
Texas, the Carolinas, where I live in New York State right now, we got flood warnings tonight. We got record high amounts of rain the last couple of days, and it seems like America, every state is going through some kind of a crisis, and then friggin' North Korea is firing off missiles. I'm not sure what this guy's trying to pull. he's trying to flex his muscles, but hopefully shit doesn't escalate, because right now we don't really need a World War III. That's actually the last thing we need. We probably should worry about keeping the prices of bacon and groceries and gas down. And a nuclear weapon is the last thing America needs right now. And hopefully this shit stops real quick.
Right. And we hear what it is that the guy's saying, you know, but ultimately we know through the prophecies that, you know, there will be World War III, man. And we in the beginning stages of it, and it's already here. But like I said, we're just at a point where those missiles are not going to be shot yet, because the MOTBC hip is not made mandatory, of course. But we're already living in the time of World War III, man, and it's already here. You know, that's what a lot of people's problem is. They don't want to accept reality. They see the things that are happening right in front of their faces, and they try to deny it. You know, because maybe if they deny it, then it won't happen. Or if they believe that it'll get back normal, things will come back the way they want it to. But no, like I said before, we're living in a time of judgment. So things are not going to get normal, man. Right. And I'm actually get a precept on that. This is Revelations 11 and 14. It said the second woe is past. Right. Talking about World War II. And behold, the third woe. Right. Cometh quickly. And that's the time of season that we're in, man, where all of these things are about to be happening at once. You know, you're going to have the MOTBC being ushered in right along with World War III picking up over there in the Middle East. Then you're going to have all type of chaos and mayhem happening here in America. This is what the stage is being set for, man. And Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is the one that's about to bring all of these things, right? You know? So, yeah, that's pretty much everything I had to say with today's video. Just something quick through the spirit. Nothing too long. I pray it be edifying to you brothers and sisters that come across it. Till the next time, I'm going to say shalom to the elect.